We've got another new report for you, and this time it's from Gobi Partners that shows there's been a cooling startup funding climate, but also a major shift toward AI, fintech, and digital transformation in what it calls the Philippines' next wave of innovation. To break down the key findings, we're joined today by Carlo Chen Delantar. He's a partner at Gobi Partners. Morning, Carlo. Thanks for being with us again.
Thanks for having me. Good to see you again, Rich.
Well, first of all, let's talk about who Gobi Partners is. It's a primarily Philippines-focused venture capital fund, right?
So we're a Asia-focused venture capital firm. We've been in the game for about 22 years.
Yes.
And we have multiple funds, including the Philippines. And we invest anything specifically in technology. And we believe in innovation without boundaries.
Fantastic. And this latest report that you put out found that 2025 was a much cooler climate for startup funding, which came as no surprise to me, to be honest, because it has been really quiet on the startup, on the fundraising side. But to rattle off some numbers, we're looking at total capital raised falling 32% and deal volume down by 54%. Talk us through those numbers.
That is correct. So I think the last time I met you last year, there was a high uptick of amount of deal value, but then the deal volume was even a bit higher. But the reason for that was a lot of larger scale-up startups were actually raising to grow bigger. But this year, especially with the AI wave, majority of the question was where capital should be. If the Western and Eastern states are looking into AI, where does ASEAN look at? And now you look at the Philippines, plus all the current issues that's happening geopolitically and politically, it has created this slurry of a pot where we're trying to figure out where deal value should be. But the ones that are really strong and steadfast right now are the profitable scale-ups.
So a lot of investors held back thinking, oh, let's wait and see how this AI transformation unfolds. Well, how is the Philippines position in that landscape?
I think it's the same with ASEAN at this point. Talent in a way is fairly limited and fairly niche at this point, and everyone's trying to figure out what does AI mean for their economy. What we're seeing in ASEAN, and slowly we're seeing a lot more policies in the Philippines, is really built on what does AI need to create that infrastructure. So the most important one here would be data sovereignty. Data should be processed and only be computed within your own country.
Okay.
So now you have data centers,
Yeah.
renewables. So majority of that now are heavily and quietly being invested by a lot of the conglomerates here. But on top of that, with an archipelagic state, electrification and just internet connectivity is still not there. So there's a lot more to do there. And that's just the intelligent era or the intelligent age, which we're talking about the fifth wave of innovation. Before that was the digital side, right? So now we have to leapfrog onwards.
Also, we're no longer in the digital era. We're now in the intelligent
We're
era.
leapfrogging fast because we need to make that competition. We're not just competing with the digital startups. It's now global companies that see no bounds because you
Right.
can just go directly now.
Do you think the Philippines has I know there's some issues, as you pointed out, but do you think the Philippines has the right ingredients to carve out a space in this AI revolution?
100%. I think we've looked at a lot. We look at deals every single year, and we have to revisit some of our deals because some of new business models are changing, and it might work now, especially on productivity,
Yeah.
lesser manpower, and actually the accurateness of how AI is doing. So I think best examples here would be healthcare. Healthcare is the amount of paperwork that's been done and how to actually find the right profile and insurance faster and way better.
We were just talking about it with the BCG
Yeah.
principal, Lance. And in fact, when I looked at your report, the sectors that you said that look promising, that are poised for transformation, there are four. You said fintech, logistics and health tech, creative, and BPO and knowledge services. Talk us through that.
I think it's at the end of the day, it's question of fundamentally, if you are a business, where do you put your allocate your resource and how do you create better efficiency? And some would say, especially if you're private, bottom line, right? So there's an interesting balance, especially with the two you mentioned, BPO and creative, right? I think the Philippines is heavily on a service industry.
Yes.
So how do we make sure that they're being upskilled over time? Because right now, a lot of BPOs, we're seeing more of them transcribing and supporting the AI transition. But the real question is, how do we
But
make
that's low-level tasks.
low-level
Yeah.
tasks? Yes, but now, so the upskill is very, very important. So how do you make sure we believe that in the tech ecosystem, the most tech-native talent actually comes from BPO. So we can welcome them within the tech industry, but we want to make sure that there's room for everyone, right?
Right.
So that's because, and very, very interestingly enough, the average age globally for AI-driven founders is actually below 25.
Yes, I know, it's very young.
Very, very young. So now, when you look at AI hackathons now, a lot of them can create a working prototype, and they're just like straight out of college, and that's an
Are
interesting
you
part.
extrapolating that with the Philippines' demographic, wherein we're also very young age,
Very,
and you're
very young.
saying there's an opportunity there?
100%, yes. And we're one of the top users for LLMs, ChatGPT or Gemini. So I'm excited on that part because now we're immediately decentralizing what it means to be a successful founder. And that's one of our things too with the report is we've surveyed over 50 founders, and we wanted to understand what the blueprint is to be invested. And that's something that has been doing really well. And really, this report is a service to the startup founders, and hopefully they get more investments.
As a VC fund, when you look at the landscape of startups in the Philippines, what's looking interesting to you? What's standing out? And again, is there enough activity? Is there enough innovating in the AI space?
Okay. So for the ones, for startups that have gone funding, majority of their investors are saying, okay, use AI as a way to increase your volumes, get better margins, but at the same time, be way more efficient. So there's a lot of restructuring, figuring out what that looks like. For new deals, we have to look even further. It's like, are you AI first? And if not, the question now is, do we wait and see? So where we're seeing next steps would be, we're seeing whatever's happening globally would be AI applications, right? Because if you look at the layers of LLMs, agentic AI, compute, everything will be done by West or East. So how do you apply that to the Philippines, and how do you make sure you attend to that market? So it's going to be really, really fast, and it's probably one of the fastest cycles we've seen the past 15 years.
And are there enough organic startups here that are looking, that are innovating in that space, or it's mostly still overseas startups that have set up branches here?
Majority, I would say, that are really strong would be the regional ones.
The regional
because they
ones,
do
right.
see this as a market. So what we do with this report is say, hey, these are things happening. Let's use the time machine method. Let's bring all these use cases so you can just have a better leg up to really compete in this space. And that's what we want, nation building.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And but then I'm sorry, I have to ask you this.
Yeah.
But has the whole this massive corruption scandal tainted the image of the Philippines as a startup destination in any way?
I think in Southeast Asia, it's the same thing as Indonesia, Malaysia, Myanmar. The Philippines is no saint, I guess, in that sense. But we have to be steadfast and see this as for a momentum. So yes, it has affected. But the most welcome thing that has happened the past week has been the suspension of the LOA. It's very, very important.
The letters of authority by the
Yes,
BIR.
correct,
Okay.
yes.
Why is that important?
If you look at ease of doing business, we're one of the most hard
Yes,
places to
yes,
do.
still.
So the lowest, the fact that you're expected to do it every single year when you're supposed to be growing as a startup and the investments come in, it really takes the time and growth within these startups. So I hope they modernize LOAs, but at this point, it's a very happy. It's very
It's a
welcome.
very welcome development.
Yeah.
Well, we'll make sure that they close the loopholes in that LOA, because as the BIR was explaining to us, it didn't start off as an insidious thing, right? It started off with the right intentions, but of course it got weaponized in the end. But we shall leave that there. Thank you so much for talking to us, Carlo. Chen Delantar, partner at Gobi Partners, a venture capital fund.